Now, it's really good to have you back with us as we keep moving forward with our editing journey. In our last video, we spent some time getting to know CapCut from a base level and understanding what it can do for beginners. Today, we're going to take things a step further by showing you the essential settings you need to dial in before you start cutting. We're also going to walk through the entire interface together so you feel right at home when you open up a new project. So let's get into it. So let's jump right in and take a look at what happens when you first fire up CapCut. The very first thing you're going to see when you open up CapCut is the home page, and this is really the hub where everything begins. This is where you can make new projects or even try out some of those fancy AI features, like translating your video or turning a script into a full video. You'll see an empty space in the middle, and that's where all your future projects are going to live. If you're starting fresh, it'll be empty, but as you grow, this will be your main navigation point. When we click on that big New Project bar, it loads up the main editing interface, which is actually split into 4 main areas that we need to understand. Starting in the upper left, we have the Media panel. This is where we're going to actually import the footage, photos, and audio that we want to use in our story. You can also access brand assets here, which is great if you have a logo or specific colors you use in every single video. Just to the right of that, you'll find the player. This is your window into the project, which shows you exactly what your video looks like at any given moment. Then, over on the far right, we have the details panel. This is a dynamic space, which means whatever you have selected, whether it's a clip or an effect, the properties and adjustments for that specific item will show up right there for you to tweak. Down below, taking up the bottom half of the screen, is the timeline. This is really where the magic happens and where we're going to put clips together to create our story. If you look at the very top left, next to the CapCut logo, there's a menu button that holds your project settings and layout options. Speaking of layouts, if you ever feel like the panels are in the wrong spot, there's a quick layouts menu in the upper right. We usually recommend sticking to the default layout while you're learning, so you can follow along easily. You'll also notice a button for keyboard shortcuts right next to it. We highly suggest taking a peek at those, because learning just a few simple keys can really speed up your work and make the whole process feel much more natural. It's a streamlined setup, and once you click around a bit, you'll see it's designed to stay out of your way while you work. Following that look at the interface, it's really important that we focus on some essential settings before we get too deep into the actual editing. There aren't a whole lot of them, but getting them right early on makes a huge difference. If we head back to that menu in the upper left and click on Settings, the first thing we see is the Project tab. This shows us exactly where our projects and downloaded materials are being saved on the computer. One thing we always keep an eye on is the cache files. Whenever you're editing, the program makes little files to help things play back smoothly, but over time, these can take up a lot of space. You can manage how often these get deleted right here in the settings, and we recommend checking in on this every few projects to make sure your hard drive isn't getting cluttered with gigabytes of old data. Moving over to the Edit tab, we have a few choices that are mostly about how you prefer to work. Since we're focusing on making YouTube videos, we like to set the target loudness to the YouTube standard. Another setting we always make sure is toggled on is the free layer option, which gives us more flexibility with how we stack our clips in the timeline. When it comes to frame rate, if you aren't sure what to pick, 30 is a great standard for a smooth, natural look. If you're doing something more cinematic, you might go with 24. Or if you're editing fast-paced aiming content, 60 might be the way to go. We also usually turn off the sound that plays when an export is finished, just so it doesn't startle us when we're focused on something else. Then we have the Performance tab, and we suggest turning all of these options on to help your computer stay fast. A really interesting feature here is the proxy mode. What this does is create a smaller, lower resolution copy of your video for you to edit with. This way, your computer doesn't have to work so hard to play back heavy 4K files while you're trying to figure out the timing of your cuts. Lastly, just double-check your language and sound output settings to make sure you're hearing everything through your preferred headphones or speakers. Once you hit save on these, you won't have to mess with them very often, and you can always hit the Modify button in the Details panel to change specific project names or ratios whenever you need to. Ultimately, taking these few minutes to understand your workspace and dial in your settings is going to save you a lot of frustration down the road. It sets a strong foundation so you can focus on being creative instead of troubleshooting. Now that we have everything configured properly, we're ready to start building. See you in the next video with something exciting. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to get more videos like this.